I moved into Brookstone Ridge, thinking I'd made it. First home, first yard, first sense that maybe, just maybe, I'd built something stable. Tree-lined streets, a playground, a cul-de-sac that smelled like barbecues and sprinkler water. They sold me the dream. But what I didn't know back then was that I hadn't just bought a house. I'd bought into a system that didn't care about community, only control. And that system was called the Brookstone Ridge Homeowners Association. The first sign came in the mail, a violation notice. Apparently, my trash cans were visible from the street. I lived on a corner lot. Where else was I supposed to put them? I paid the $50 fine just to move on. But then came another, and another. By the end of month 2, I'd paid more in fines than my electric bill. Neighbors warned me. "Don't fight them," one said quietly at the mailbox. "They'll make your life hell." I laughed it off. I thought, what can they really do? Turns out everything. The HOA president was a man named Gerald Whitaker, retired lawyer, always smiling, always quoting bylaws, like scripture. He'd built his reputation on keeping the neighborhood beautiful, which really meant keeping everyone in line. Soon, the letters got more aggressive. A weed violation for 2 dandelions in my yard, a $200 inspection fee for repainting my own fence, without approval, same color by the way. Then a hearing notice about continuing non-compliance. They said if I didn't attend, they could place a lien on my house. That's when it hit me. They didn't have to evict me. They could just own me through paperwork. I started looking up HOA laws, reading cases where people lost homes over $300 fines. Some of them never even got court notices. I found one story from Florida, where a family's house was auctioned over unpaid landscaping penalties. That night, I barely slept. I remember the sound of sprinklers clicking outside, the perfect lawns, everything designed to look peaceful. But I could feel it in my chest. This place wasn't safe. It was polite tyranny, dressed in pastel siding and American flags. So I decided to fight back. I showed up to the next HOA board meeting. Small room, cheap coffee, 5 board members pretending they weren't annoyed I'd come. I laid out my case photos of my yard, receipts, the paint color code that matched their own approval sheet. They listened, nodded, and smiled. Then Gerald leaned forward and said, "The board appreciates your concern, but rules are rules. That's it. No discussion. No appeal." Meeting adjourned. When I got home, there was a new letter taped to my door. Failure to comply may result in legal action. And for a second, I wanted to quit. 2 weeks later, I noticed the HOA truck parked outside my house every morning. A board member inspecting. My mailbox got dented. My trash pickup skipped twice. Someone filed a noise complaint about my lawnmower. And then came the breaking point. I got a certified letter saying my house was now under lien consideration for $2,100 in unpaid fees and penalties. I hadn't missed a single payment. I called, emailed, begged for clarity, nothing. I felt trapped in a neighborhood that smiled to your face while it sharpened the knife behind your back. That's the part nobody tells you. You don't need bars or police sirens to feel trapped. All it takes is a board with your address on a spreadsheet and a taste for power. And the worst part? They act like you're the problem. One night I started digging through public records. Buried in the county database, I found something strange. The HOA had filed 3 small claims suits that year against other homeowners, all for unpaid dues, all dismissed. Same reason every time: insufficient documentation. I realized they were bluffing, using legal threats as scare tactics. So I started documenting everything, every letter, every photo, every interaction. I filed a formal complaint with the state HOA oversight office. Then I did something bold. I emailed every homeowner on the block a single-page summary titled, "What Your HOA Isn't Telling You." Within 2 days, half the neighborhood had seen it, and Gerald's mask started to crack. At the next board meeting, the room was full. Dozens of homeowners, some angry, some scared, but all tired. Gerald tried to maintain control. He called me a troublemaker, said I was spreading misinformation. I stood up and read from the state's own statute. No association shall impose or enforce assessments not supported by documented expenditures. Then I showed copies of their dismissed court cases. You could feel the room shift, like the air got heavier. Neighbors started whispering. Someone said out loud, "Is this true?" Gerald's voice cracked when he tried to respond. He slammed the gavel and called for order. But it was too late. The crowd was awake. A week later, 3 board members resigned. A county investigator showed up asking for records. And that lien, it vanished. I got an email from the new acting president, an apology, and a promise to restore trust. They refunded my last fine and asked if I'd consider joining the board. Yeah, right. But the best part? Neighbors started talking again. We had cookouts, shared stories, compared letters, and suddenly, that perfect little suburb didn't feel so fake anymore. I still live in Brookstone Ridge. The lawns are still perfect. The HOA still sends emails. But now they know I read every line. The truth is, I didn't set out to be some whistleblower or activist. I just wanted peace. But when peace costs obedience, that's not community, that's control. And the moment you stop being afraid to lose your place in the neighborhood is the moment you finally belong there. If you've ever dealt with a corrupt HOA or felt trapped by the system, this story's for you, because they count on silence, and silence is where they lose